I get an F for this. I literally didn't even try. Hi, I'm Tamara. I love knitting. I started knitting in 2020 and I've grown a lot in the last couple of years. I've been sharing my progress and my projects on Instagram, and I think part of what helped me grow a lot is goals that I set for myself in terms of like different techniques I wanted to try, like pushing myself to sort of get outside of my comfort zone. So I thought it'd be fun to share some of the goals that I set for this year, and then also look back at my 2022 goals and grade myself on how well I actually did in achieving them. And I know you're probably thinking, like, aren't we already a 12th of the way through the year? And yes, it's nice to meet you. I'm a chronic procrastinator, but a theme for me this year is gonna be better late than never, so it's late. And I'm wearing, I guess you can't really see it, but I'm wearing my little cherry top. This pattern just came out this last month, so yeah. Okay. I've got my goals written in my cute little knitting notebook, and let's go through them. So my first goal for 2022 was to freestyle more. So knit more things without a pattern. I knitted my very first thing without a pattern at the very end of 2021, like literally finished it on December 31st, 2021. Also my birthday, which is a nice little birthday gift for myself. But that was a big goal that I set, and I'm gonna give myself an A+ for this one. I think I only knitted 2 things last year that were from someone else's pattern, and I made probably 15 to 20 things last year, so that was a lot of freestyling. I had so much fun doing it. I think that it just like opened up a whole extra level of excitement around creativity and love for knitting for me, being able to see something go from like an idea in my brain into something that I'm actually wearing out in the world. So that was awesome. I'm really happy that I prioritized that. The next goal that I set was to knit a commission. I get an F for this. I literally didn't even try. I did not reach out to anyone. I decided like maybe 1 month into the year that I didn't actually care about this. When I thought about it more, I thought that knitting a commission might actually make me feel a little bit pressured in a negative way. I also worried that I would be a little more self-critical if I was giving something to someone else, because some of my things have little mistakes in them, but I don't mind them because it's sort of, I don't know, a part of the history I have with the garment. And I just worried that I would be too self-critical, and I kind of found that even with test knits, which were things that I would keep for myself, I would start to avoid them because I didn't like having a deadline and pressure. So yeah, for all those reasons, I decided knitting a commission was probably not gonna be fun for me. So didn't even try. And by the way, I think I'm very flexible and forgiving for myself in terms of goals that I try to meet. I think you have no idea who you're going to be and what you're going to learn about yourself and the world within the next calendar year. So I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking a goal that you had and saying like, actually, that's not really who I am, or I changed my mind and I don't think that's important to me. So an F, but I don't feel bad about it. My next goal was to release my first knitting pattern, and I did this. So I guess I'm gonna give myself an A. When I set this goal at the beginning of 2022, I definitely thought it would be like a fully graded garment that I would be releasing. Ya girl has had some troubles with grading. It has been a steep learning curve for me. So I did not release any graded garment knitting patterns last year, but I did release my first pattern, which was an accessory, the summertime tote bag. And that was really fun, and honestly I feel like that was a great first pattern for me to tackle because I didn't have to worry about fit, and like once things were going into testing, I kind of knew how everything was going to turn out. Like my testers gave some great feedback on like little ways to improve readability or like diagrams, etc. But yeah, it made it a little bit less scary that I didn't have to worry that I did something wrong grading and my testers are gonna be like, oh my God, this thing doesn't fit me at all. Thanks for wasting my time, you stupid bitch, I hate you. I don't know, I had a lot of self-doubt about it. So anyway, yeah, so I'll give it an A for this. I didn't knock it out of the park, but like I did the goal. So yeah. My next goal was get good at stranded colorwork. Now I'm like, what is good? What is good? I don't know. I'm gonna say I got better, so I got gooder. at stranded color work. I did knit a lot of summertime tote bags, and then also the top that I have on now, the cherry bomb crop, I made this in cherry and then also in daisy. So I did a lot of stranded color work. I'd only done it once before in 2021, and it was, I think, a pattern by Thelma Stein, and it just had color work around the bottoms of the sleeves. It was like flames, and that I sucked at. Like, it got super lumpy and I couldn't block it out because I chose superwash, and when I tried to block superwash, it all stretched so that the sleeves reached my knees. It was just generally a disaster. Definitely did better this last year, so I'm gonna give myself like a B+, A-. There's still, I think I could still improve my tension with color work. I really wanna try, oh shit, I'm just gonna add this. Okay, well, I'll tell you my next color work goal for 2023. But next on the list was to learn brioche, and I put that down just because I thought brioche seemed mysterious and scary. I'd heard that it was hard. I didn't understand what you did with the knitting needles to make it, and I just wanted to confront that. I just wanted to get past my fear of the unknown and just do something in brioche. So I'll give myself an A+ for this. I did the Ribblesdale Vest pattern by Lily Kate Makes, which is a great pattern. She writes super, super clear, amazing patterns. And I chose a vest because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't overcommitting, and I didn't want to pick something that was like a full sweater with like an oversized big sweater, whatever. Because what if I hated brioche? Like, which is also why I made the goal to just learn brioche and not like knit a brioche sweater. Is I don't want to be committed to knitting a sweater in a stitch if I have no idea if I'll like doing the stitch. Okay, my next goal was to make some gifts. So I started knitting kind of seriously in late 2020, and then all of 2021 I only knitted for myself. And you know, I feel like most of my friends and family are pretty generous, non-demanding people. So I didn't have a ton of people saying like, why haven't you made me something? Actually, my mom was like, don't make me something. And then the later was like, oh, you actually make nice things? Okay, you can make me something. Just like, thank you for the unconditional support, Mom. But yeah, I didn't make anyone anything in 2021, and I felt like a little bit bad about it. I feel like I see a lot of discourse about being like a selfish knitter or not online, and I don't think there's anything selfish about using your hobby time for yourself, but I thought it might be a good thing to explore making something for someone else. So, I mean, I'll give myself an A. I think I made 2 gifts. 2 summertime tote bags. One was a tote bag version that I embroidered, and then the other one was a backpack. So those are gifts. So I did it. Relative to the amount of stuff I knitted for myself, not that much. I did like start a couple gifts that I just never finished. So I never tell people when I'm gonna make them something because I don't know if I'll actually follow through. But yeah. Okay, so that is my 2022 overview. Honestly, I think that's a pretty good report card. I think I did pretty well. Getting into the 2023 goals. So my first big goal for myself, this is like big theme for the year, is I want to get really good and also efficient at grading size inclusive patterns. So last year, my first goal was about freestyling more, and I feel like I've gotten the hang of making things for myself that fit my body type the way that I want them to. Not to say that I've mastered that, there's always like a billion other techniques I could learn in the process of doing that. But I found it really challenging last year to take some of the things that I freestyled and then try to write up patterns about them. I was a little bit surprised how hard I found some of the grading to be, and part of that was just me not knowing that much about body proportions besides my own, like not really knowing how to find information for some of the measurements that I would take for myself were not measurements that I could find in other sizing guides. Learning more about grading and learning more about all the different types of sizes and body proportions out there will also inform your decision making when you're designing, because
For instance, I made a top that just had like 2 decreases every other, 2 increases every other row for your bust shaping. But then I realized, okay, so what if someone has a really small upper bust?
actually this goal is like too big. I don't think that necessarily within 1 year I'll be like good and efficient, but let's say better and more efficient are my goals. And I do think that I'm already improving on that within sort of this first month of the year. I've been spending a lot more time learning about different like shaping techniques, etc., and spending a lot of time looking at different sizing charts. So yeah, that is a really big goal for me, and I'm really excited about it. That one brings us to the next goal, which is I want to publish 5 knitting patterns this year. And I honestly have already like 5 designs that I made in the last year that at least some people have asked for patterns for, and I just did not have the skills or the time last year to grade them. And I want to sort of catch up on some of those, but I also have some other designs that I've been really excited about. This one's on the list for the backwards looking, like grading up designs I had made before. Are the tied and true top is like my top priority, and then probably also the collared sweater that I made. So yeah, I'm working on it. Those are all priorities for me, and I think that 5 is, I mean, a lot of work goes into publishing a pattern, but I think that 5 is doable over the course of a year, and especially hopefully if I get better at grading. So the next 4 things on the list are all techniques, specific techniques that I want to learn. Similar to last year when I said I want to learn brioche stitch, I like to go through and think about like big buckets of types of knitting techniques that I haven't learned before and challenge myself to familiarize myself with them, because I like to have these goals as just sort of a reminder that, you know, as the year goes on, I kind of forget things. Like I might have been singularly focused on only top-down sweaters and stockinette for a while, and I kind of forget that there are all these other things I want to explore. And so I like to look at these goals sort of in between projects. I'm like, I don't have an idea that's like driving me to finish something I really, really want. Let me think about how might I use this time instead to just learn a new technique. So the first one was double knitting, and I actually already learned this, or started to. I mean, there's more to learn, but I made this little double knitted headband, and I made another one in white and pink just with scrap yarn. I wanted to use up some scrap yarn this year. I'm really into the effect that it gets. I think it's perfect for headbands too, because it's like double thick around your ears. Is it cheating to put things on my list that I've already done? I'm definitely the type of person to start every to-do list with like, number 1, write a to-do list. Oh my God, check, I'm so productive already. So sorry if that's what I'm doing here. Next on the list of techniques is lace knitting. I did not tackle this at all in the last 2 years. I think I kind of already had a sense about the technique in general. Like I know that you use a lot of increases, decreases, yarn overs in general in lace, but I never actually sat down and tried to knit from a lace chart. And I wasn't sure if I would find it fussy and annoying, or maybe I would find it challenging and rewarding. I hope that this year we'll have more lace projects to come. I just think that that would be like a fun thing to add into my rotation. Next up, I want to learn more crochet techniques. I thought about making a goal around like fully crochet something, but I don't want to hold myself to that. I don't know how much I'll like it, but I have done just a couple little crochet techniques in my knitting already. Like I added a picot stitch to separate straps for my Thine Own top. And I know sometimes there's like beef between knitters and crocheters. I think that the two go together beautifully. I think that in every fiber artist's life, there is a place for both techniques in different projects that you want to make, but I'm particularly interested in learning crochet techniques I can use to finish my knits. I think that there's just like a lot of pretty interesting things that you can do that you can't do if you're limited to only knitting. And then the last of the techniques I want to try is I really want to try ladder back jacquard. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Someone please tell me if I'm not. This is basically when you have really long floats in color work, you essentially are like knitting the floats sort of on the back side of the fabric. So like you have the front side, and then on the back side, it's like a mesh of all of your long floats. And sometimes when you catch floats, you can kind of see them through the fabric. And yeah, I think that that would be really useful to know, especially because I don't love intarsia, but I don't gravitate towards like Fair Isle patterns that have very short repeats of different colors. So I keep gravitating towards things that are a little bit graphic like this, but I think it'd be useful to have a technique up my sleeve for like catching those long floats. And I also want to make some more fiber friends this year. So last year, I got lucky that a bunch of my friends were kind of getting into knitting at the same time. And so like we were doing like weekly or bi-weekly knitting meetups, and that was so fun. I found it so helpful to like have friends to sort of talk and brainstorm construction ideas or like give you help on a technique or a project. So that was super, super fun. Then they all were kind of like got out of knitting. So none of them are really that interested in it anymore, and that's totally fine. Like you can't, what is it? Like you can pick your friends, you can pick your hobbies, but you can't pick your friends' hobbies. So I would like to make more friends that I share this hobby with, so I can still have that sort of like collaborative conversations, and the people in my life who do not care about knitting can listen to me talk about it less and get fewer unsolicited work in progress photos. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing like at the end of this year, what things did I make? What things did I learn? What things did I decide that I hated and didn't even want to try to meet the goal? I don't know. We're gonna find out, and maybe a year from now I will still be making YouTube videos and I'll look back on this one and be like, oh wow, I'm so different now. Look what I've done. So I don't know, hopefully it'll be fun to have to look back on. Thanks so much for sticking with me. I hope this was fun, and I'll talk to you later.